Wet Dog by Elise Broach, illustrations by David Catrow. We would like to thank Dial Books for Young Readers of New York for allowing us to read this to you virtually today.
He was a good old dog and a hot old dog as he lay in the noonday sun, and he dozed and he drowsed in the beating down sun with his long pink tongue hanging out. Well, that too hot dog and the too hot sun just had to cool off somehow. So he heaved to his feet and he sniffed the air and he trotted off down the road. Pat-a-pat, pat-a-pat, pat. And that's when he saw a man washing a car, a long, black, shiny black car. Old Dog stepped in the soft, cool stream till the wet soaked through to his skin. Then he shook and he shook with a happy dog smile, wagging his happy dog tail. Shaky shake, shaky shake, shake. Wet Dog, cried the man with the shiny black car. Shoo! Go on now, shoo! Wet Dog smiled his sorry dog smile and wagged his sorry dog tail. Then he flapped his ears and he sniffed the air and he trotted off down the road. Pat-a-pat, pat-a-pat, pat. And that's when he saw a lady washing some pans, some piled high, sticky high pans. Wet Dog stepped in the splash and the suds till the cool flowed down his fur. Then he shook and he shook with a happy dog smile, wagging his happy dog tail. Shaky shake, shaky shake, shake. Wet Dog, cried the lady with the sticky high pans. Shoo! Go on now, shoo! Wet Dog smiled his sorry dog smile and he wagged his sorry dog tail. Then he flapped his ears and he sniffed the air and he trotted off down the road. Pat-a-pat, pat-a-pat, pat. And that's when he saw a lady spraying some blooms, some pale pink petal pink blooms. Wet Dog stepped in the sparkling spray and the soft mist cooled his face. Then he shook and he shook with a happy dog smile, wagging his happy dog tail. Shaky shake, shaky shake, shake. Wet Dog, cried the lady with the petal pink blooms. Shoo! Go on now, shoo! Wet Dog smiled his sorry dog smile and he wagged his sorry dog tail. Then he flapped his ears and he sniffed the air and he trotted off down the mud. Pat-a-pat, pat-a-pat, pat. And that's when he saw some men playing a song, a singing loud, dancing loud song. Wet Dog stood by the side of the creek, feeling the music rise. Then he danced right into the trickle and the muck with his big soft paws sinking in. And he shook with a happy dog smile, wagging his happy dog tail. Shaky shake, shaky shake, shake. Wet Dog, cried the men with the dancing loud song. Shoo! Go on now, shoo! Wet Dog smiled his sorry dog smile and he wagged his sorry dog tail. Then he flapped his ears and he sniffed the air and he trotted off down the road. Pat-a-pat, pat-a-pat, pat. And that's when he came to a lake. Now there by the shore in the beating down sun were people in fine fancy clothes. There were ladies in curls, men in bow ties, babies in soft flouncy hats. Wet Dog stood by the lake and he looked at the crowd in the too hot sun. Then he stepped right into the shimmering cool of that too cool lake, and he splished and he splashed in the rippling waves, and he bounded back onto the shore. He was wet to the bone, so he shook and he shook, shaky shake, shaky shake, shake. Wet Dog, cried the people in their fine fancy clothes. Shoo! Go on now, shoo! But Wet Dog shook with his ears flying fast and his wet fur spraying. And a baby just laughed. She was a fine fancy baby in too hot clothes with the water fresh on her face. She laughed and she laughed, clapping her hands at the Wet Dog rain in the air. More, cried the baby, arms open wide. More, dog, more. Then the people laughed too. And they danced, and they dove, and they splashed, and they strode into the blue, cool water. Well, they splashed and they danced. How they splashed and they danced as the sun slid low in the sky, and they patted Wet Dog from his ears to his tail. Hooray, Wet Dog, hooray. The end.
Hi friends, I hope you enjoyed that story, Wet Dog. When it's hot outside, those dogs like to cool off. And what's the best way to cool off? By getting in some water, of course. And he did that a lot, didn't he? He probably made a lot of people mad, but he was hot and he needed to cool off. What are some ways that you cool off during the summer? Do you go to the swimming pool? Or maybe down to the creek? I bet you get ice cream, don't you? It's the dog days of summer, and that just means that it's really hot outside, and you may see your dog friends taking lots of naps, but even us humans do too, don't we? It's too hot outside to do much, and you don't want to get too hot. So when it is hot outside, make sure to drink lots of water and wear clothes where you won't get sunburned. Put on that SPF. We want to make sure that your skin doesn't get burnt. And just take naps inside. It's a good time to relax. I have 2 dogs at my house, and their names are Franklin and Murphy. They're Scottish Terriers, and after our craft, I'll show you some pictures of them. I just love them, but they can be rather mischievous, as most dogs are. Today, we're going to make our very own paper bag puppet that looks like a dog. And if you were able to pick up a craft bag yesterday at the library, it's going to have all the supplies that you need, except for glue, scissors, and markers. We hope that you can have that at your house yourselves. But in your bag, it had the following. There was a little piece of paper that looked like a square, and I had drawn a half oval on the crease side. So once your child cuts on that line and they open it up, it forms the belly of the dog. All right. There's also a red rectangle, and that's going to be the collar for your dog. I included a yellow circle in your bag, and that is the dog's tag. And the dog tags really is for identification purposes. You might put the name of your dog, but we also encourage you to put your information on there too, in case your dog decides to run away. Sometimes they just get really curious about their surroundings, and they might venture off every now and then. But if they do, and some really nice friend finds your dog, if your information's on there, they can call you and they'll know exactly where to bring your dog back to. There was also 2 hearts in your bag, and the hearts are going to be, what do you think, by looking at this example? The ears, and they're hearts, but they work out as great ears too. So let's get started making our dog puppet. On your bag that you got at the library, if you were able to do that, you're going to have a flappy side, that's the bottom, and then you have the open side that we're going to point down. The flappy side, I want you to make sure that's pointing up towards you, face up, and you want to put a dab of glue on each of the corners at the very top. So 2 dabs of glue, one on this top and one on that top. And this is where we're going to put the ears. You can let your dog have pointy ears or floppy ears. And because I think floppy ears are so cute, mine are going to point downward. So that just means the bottom of the heart will go up and the tops of the heart will point down. So I'm going to put my 2 ears on there, and I'll show you what that will look like. Just like that. Now let's go ahead and put the collar on. So remember, the collar is the red triangle. This is going to go just a little bit under the flap, okay? So you want to put just a little bit of that collar underneath the flap of your bag. So I'm going to put a strip of glue on the back of my rectangle. I'm almost out of glue. I need to go get some more. Lift up the flap and just barely put it underneath that little edge and smooth it down. And you've just let your dog have a collar. If you don't want to use red paper and you have different colors at home, by all means, use what you like. The tag is going to go in the middle of the red collar. So can you show me the middle of your collar? Just point to it for me. Good. So I'm going to put a little dab of glue on the middle of my collar, and I'm going to glue that right down. It might hang off a little bit, and that's all right. So it looks something like that. And the last thing we'll have to glue on is his belly, or her belly. And you're just going to want to put some glue all over the middle of your bag. And maybe I've got just enough glue to make it. Miss Amanda uses stuff till it's completely gone. No waste over here. And just press that down really well until it's all glued down. Just like that. Now let's make the dog's face. This is completely up to you on how you want your face to be. I just use 2 circles for the eyes. I did a circle for the nose, and I made 2 lines going down and then up, kind of like a W, to form the mouth of the dog. So I'll start with the eyes and the nose, and then I'll show you how to work on the mouth. I'm just going to use a black marker so you can see it really well on the camera. So 2 circles for the eyes. And if you want to make pupils, you can do that, or you can just fill them all in all the way. I'll do some small pupils that go all the way to the bottom. So these eyes look like this. The nose can be another circle. You might want your nose to have a different shape. I'm gonna have mine have like little nostril holes on either side. So I'll just do a hump in the middle, kind of like a big N, or like a small N, I guess would be more appropriate. Then I'm gonna go up like this, and then down like this. So my shape looks a little like that. And then I'm just gonna color that in black all the way. And that allows me in the middle to form that W for his mouth. So I'm just going to start in the middle and then make a big loop going up towards the eye, but you don't want it to be too tall. So I'm going to start in the middle and then go up, and I'll stop right there at that bag line. The bottom of your bag has got like little creases, so that might help you know where to stop at. So there's one side of his mouth. And the other side will be the same, just going in the opposite direction. See how that looks like a W? Okay, now the next part is going to be his tongue. When dogs are hot, they really like to pant, and that helps them relieve some heat off of their bodies. So the tongue, I'm just going to make a U starting in the middle of that little shape right there, that W, from one of those humps to the other. Like that. So you can imagine what you want, what color you want your tongue to be, red or pink. I'm going to use some kind of pink to give it some color. I'll just color in his tongue all the way. And just to give it some more detail, I will add a black line down the middle to make it look like a little tongue. There you go. Now, if you want to decorate this more, you can. Maybe you want your dog to have spots. You can do little circles or little zigzags or little humps. I'll just show you a couple of different spots that you might decide that you like to do. A lot of times on spotted dogs, they're not complete circles, right? They're kind of bumpy and wavy. So you could do something like this on his stomach and then color those shapes in. I'll just do a few examples. I won't do them all. That way you don't have to watch me color. Because you can color on your own, can't you? We'll just do a few, like one here. Maybe we'll do one on his ear over this way. A lot of times you'll see dogs with spots. They'll have a spotty ear. I'll just color that in real quickly. Try not to get it on my table. But I did. It's okay. I'll wash it off. And that just adds some detail. I think it's really cute. Now the last thing I think it's important to do, remember, you want to make sure to have some type of way to identify your dog. Because even though dogs are all different, sometimes they do look the same, don't they? So it's your turn now to think of a name for your dog. What should I name my dog? Well, because mine has spots, I'm going to name him Spot. S-P-O-T. And I just wrote that right on his tag. I hope you enjoyed today's craft. Remember, we've got programs every week for you. If you have any suggestions, please just let us know by calling 270-237-3861. Feel free to email me at any time with suggestions or questions. My email is Amanda, A-M-A-N-D-A, at allencountylibrary.com. Again, thanks so much for being with us this week, and we can't wait to be with you again. Stay well. Goodbye. These are my dogs. This is Murphy. He's 13 years old. Here, Franklin, who is just a baby, is with his brother Murphy. Now Franklin is 4, and he's gotten so big. They really do love each other. We would love to see your dog, so please leave a picture with you and your favorite dog in the comment section below.